Welcome to Beyond Rockets. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Clark Dunn and I'm your host. Get ready to enjoy some awesome conversations from Huntsville locals about cool work they are doing right here in the Rocket City. You can connect with us on social media at Beyond Rockets. And if you're interested in doing a podcast yourself, I'd love to hear from you. You can visit my website, beyondrockets.com today, or connect with me on LinkedIn at Clark Dunn. Sit back and enjoy this episode of Beyond Rockets. This episode is sponsored by Yellowhammer Brewing. Yellowhammer is a local craft brewery serving Huntsville for the past 14 years. They are known for their premium craft beers like their T-Minus and Rebellion, but what you might not know is they also offer spirits, wine, seltzers, and non-alcoholic drinks. Next time you stop by their location, try one of their seasonal cocktails made with the Gemini Bourbon or the Yellowhammer Vodka, or try this year's big hit Pineapple Punch Seltzer. You can find out more information about Yellowhammer Brewery by visiting their website, yellowhammerbrewery.com, or visiting their tap room located at Campus 805. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk today a little bit about 111, a new restaurant that just opened in downtown Huntsville. But before we dive into talking a little bit about that, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey to now be marketing manager for Power Brands and a variety of restaurants here in Huntsville.
Yeah, so my name is Victoria Pittman. I do all of the marketing for Power Brands Hospitality Group, at least for some of their restaurants. Before this and how I came in contact with them, I worked in restaurants for a long time. I was a server, and then I started working with a chef out of Tupelo, Mississippi. I was his director of communications, and we did consulting with other restaurants. So we consulted with Power Brands for Prohibition, which was their first original concept in Madison. After that, I actually ended up working at a marketing agency called Madden Media. We worked with travel and tourism, so we worked with city and state DMOs across the country. So that was a ton of fun. And then I ended up coming back to Power Brands full-time as a marketing director. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we were talking a little bit about some of the restaurants. I mean, you have Melt, you have Prohibition, you have the Osteria Luca, you have now 111. I mean,
Yes.
It seems like your hands are pretty full with the things that you're trying to juggle, because there's always new menu items, new everything, especially with a new concept like 111. I mean, You're just trying to get it out there and get it out to the public.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, so the space that y'all are in is the Old Heritage Club. Talk a little bit about that process from when y'all got it from the previous tenants and then to now actually being open in June of 2025.
Yeah, so it was actually the owners of the Nook that were originally renovating the space. And for their own reasons, they weren't able to see it through. So they approached Power Brands to take it over about 6 months ago. So it was a very quick turnaround. And they had already done a lot of work to the space. And we just kind of added in some finishing touches. But yeah, that was back in like December, January that they approached us. The last few months have gone by insanely fast. We got Chef Pat Trauma out of New York to come and help consult with our menu. The owners of Osteria Luca, their names are Ken and Trish. They came on to consult with us and help with training. And then, of course, within the past month and a half, we hired on all of our staff, got them trained. But there's a lot that goes into it. You have to figure out your vendors for food, where you're going to source everything. Getting staff alone is its own process.
I was there last night to eat, and the amount of staff is huge.
Yes.
And it's not like it's the only concept that Power Brands has. Like, y'all have multiple restaurants, even restaurants we didn't even talk about, that you run like other chains, like so many concepts that take so much staffing. And then you open this concept that, I mean, there was probably 20 plus people working there, at least front of house.
Yes.
And so was that a hard process for y'all to find the staff to accommodate a space of that size? Or was it kind of a cooler, like, did you see a lot of people that maybe worked in restaurants during the day and that were working at 111 at night or whatever it might be?
Yeah, we've kind of seen a combination of all of those things. It was somewhat difficult to get staff. We were still hiring, right up until opening, and getting staff trained where they should be, I think, was the most difficult part. There's a lot of people, especially in the restaurant industry, that kind of, you chase the money. Whatever is the newest concept is where you want to work because you know that it's going to be really busy, especially initially, especially a concept like 111 that's right downtown. And it's more on the finer dining side of things. So people want to work there, but it's making sure that they meet our standard of service that we want to have. We're not entirely fine dining, but we want that to be the experience, be the vibe of the restaurant. So finding people that were passionate about 111, passionate about their representation of us, that it was a little challenging, but our staff that we ended up with is phenomenal. I mean, I was there during all of training, so we had about 2 to 3 weeks of training before we opened with all of the staff, and they are fantastic. They picked up on things really quickly. They are very passionate about what they do. They work so well as a team. I've been very impressed as someone that has worked in so many restaurants to see how far that they have come. So it's been really exciting, but it had its challenges, but we figured it out.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's a 6-month process to take over a space and to open your doors is pretty impressive. Did Power Brands have this idea for a concept prior to opening or prior to getting it, or did really that journey start 6 months ago of like, okay, hey, this space, let's figure out a concept that fits this space?
Yeah, again, kind of a combination of both, because it kind of just fell into our lap. So Prohibition was our first original concept that we opened, and we knew that we wanted to open more. So we definitely had a lot of ideas already floating around. We wanted a restaurant that had more of a big city kind of vibe, especially like when you go into 111, you have the chandeliers, you have plants everywhere. We knew that we wanted to incorporate that into a concept. So it was kind of a half-formed idea, and when it fell into our laps, it just came into fruition.
Yeah, and so the last weekend of May, first beginning of June, I saw a bunch of influencers, a bunch of social media stars coming in for that. Talk about that from the marketing perspective, how you went out and targeted those individuals to come in at the timing that they did to kind of garner the attention that we've seen in the first full week of June, where y'all are actually open.
Yeah. So we did the same thing at Osteria Luca, which is before we open, for our staff, we have friends and family. So this is a time when friends and family come in. The stakes are a little bit lower. We have to figure out all the kinks in our system to make sure that we're operating efficiently, to make sure, again, service is up to standard, food is up to standard, that the kitchen can handle volume and maintain a proper execution with the standard of food that goes out. So we invite all of our friends and family in, and then we get influencers to come in during this time to kind of have a sneak peek, to get our name out there, to really show ourselves to the public. And I'm fairly selective with who I choose to come in with the influencers that we work with. We really look at their quality of content that they put out, and then also their following and their engagement. Also, for the initial opening especially, we wanted it to be influencers that were hyper-specific to Huntsville. We want to reach the locals here. Later, we'll probably have people come in from other surrounding cities to really get our name out there even more.
Yeah.
But for right now, we wanted to reach the people that really speak with the demographic here in Huntsville the most. And some of those influencers are kind of, their niche is food and travel. Some of them, it's more like mom content or fashion. So we're trying to reach these different groups of people throughout Huntsville. So that's how we made our selection.
Yeah.
A lot of people that really are hyper specific to Huntsville though, initially.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing all the videos and stuff over the weekend and was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm excited to have you on this week. And I was also like, it looks amazing. We'll have to go. And my wife and I were actually talking about it on Monday about how we should try to get a reservation in the next couple weeks. And then you reached out and were like, hey, do you want to come in? And I was like, perfect. This is the perfect timing. Yes, I want to come in. And the experience is amazing. For those that obviously maybe haven't been there, it's a new concept. It just opened. Describe sort of the menu layout and describe the space itself, because it is a fine dining experience, but it's not, coat and jacket sort of requirement.
Yeah. So if you want to really get the full experience, I would say dressing up a little bit is part of the fun. We want it to be a space where people can dress up and wear things that they don't normally wear and have a good night out where they feel their best. The menu itself is very approachable, though. We didn't make things very frivolous with the food menu. It's nothing too crazy. There's things that maybe people can't normally find in Huntsville, like the beef carpaccio. That one, a lot of people are usually a little surprised by. But we have a lot of seafood on the menu that's delicious. The bronzino is fabulous, by far one of my favorites. But a lot of it is grilled food, grilled seafood, grilled steak. And then we have even all of the sides. Everything's pretty light. Nothing is too heavy. We want people to enjoy multiple courses. I would say that's my biggest advice to anybody that comes in is try something from every course in the meal. Get an appetizer, get a salad, get your entree, have dessert at the end. The dessert is, I cannot say enough good things about it. Yeah. Like one of our first days that we were open, at the very end of the night, it was like 10 o'clock. I was getting ready to leave. So I got an espresso martini and the flourless chocolate torte. It was divine. Yeah. But yeah, try something from every single course. We also have different menus we're going to incorporate brunch in the next few weeks. But then throughout the week, we'll have lunch and then dinner. Some of the options are the same on both, but the ALT on the lunch menu is amazing. It has a basil pesto mayo on it that I could take a bath in. Like, it's just so good. Yeah. But yeah, I would say try something from every course. The cocktails are really the exciting part.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like that was one of the things I noticed the most over the weekend was the influence that you had on in the cocktails that they had.
Yes.
And so when we first sat down, my wife and I were looking through the cocktails and trying to see what we thought the cocktail that we saw in a reel was, and we were kind of like, okay, I think it's that one. We should give that one a try. Yeah. And I mean, I think I tried 2 or 3 of the cocktails on the menu last night, and like all of them were amazing, and just the presentation of them. Yes. I think that's the unique thing. It's like I had the space race, and it's in a little like globe that keeps it cold. Yeah. But it doesn't dilute the actual it's like such a smart thing that I never would have thought about, but now I'm like, how do I get one of these at the house? Because it's amazing. Yeah, it's a caviar dish is what it actually is. Oh, okay. Which makes so much sense because you have the ice in the bottom and it doesn't dilute anything. But yeah, we got really creative with our cocktails. For the food menu, we kind of kept things simple because again, we want to maintain a very high standard for the food that goes out. And once you start adding too many ingredients, that gets complicated to kind of maintain that standard, especially at the volume that we're pushing food out. But for the cocktails, we got a little crazy. So Ditto's Landing, that is by far my favorite cocktail on the menu. It is basically like a tea. You can actually order it as a mocktail as well without alcohol. But it's in this glass globe that sits on top of a burner. And then as it heats up, it is siphoned up into another container where it steeps with other herbs and florals. And then as it cools, it diffuses back down into the original glass. Wow. And it's served warm. Right now, you can only order it at the bar because it takes time and you kind of need eyes on it because it's on a burner and we don't want anyone to try and touch it. But that one is phenomenal. By far my top recommendation. There's also one called Hide Your Lemons, Hide Your Ice, and it has dry ice in it and it comes in a little teapot so you can see like the smoke coming out of it. Cool. We really tried to make them experiential. I think that's what people are craving now. There's so many places that are fast casual where you're just in and out, and you don't get to experience the food that you're eating and the drinks that you're drinking. But that's what we wanted to bring to Huntsville. I think that's kind of where we saw that we were lacking a little bit in our food scene was making things more experiential. But yeah, the cocktails are super fun. Yeah, and so, I think, I mean, that idea of just going in there and trying a variety of things on the menu that is from every course. Because as we were eating last night, my wife and I were like, we should just come in here and get appetizers. Like I could come in and have a cocktail and mussels and whatever else and just be and then have dessert and be totally happy with it. And like, I think it is one of those things that's like when you go in, there is something for everybody. I think, there is the unique things that you don't see at many restaurants. There is the unique cocktails that you don't see at many restaurants. But then you also have the signature cocktails that if you want an old-fashioned, you can do an old-fashioned. Yeah, if you want a burger, we have that. Yes. Yeah. And so I think it's such a unique thing. I mean, obviously, y'all have only been open a few days. What has been the general response you've seen from the community via social media, via in person? Honestly, it has been so much better than we
could have imagined it being. We all knew that this was something great. I think we got a little nervous towards opening because expectations were so high. Even like on our social media, we kept things very like vague and cryptic.
Yeah.
People have been watching the space for months as renovations.
I remember when y'all put up the tarps where you couldn't see inside at a certain point, and then and that's when I knew I was like, it's getting close.
Oh yeah, and that drove a ton of excitement up. You know, it created a lot of buzz. People want to see him. They were like trying to peek through the windows. Sometimes like a little piece of the tarp would fall and you'd see people like peeking in. But so we got a little nervous towards opening. We were like, expectations are so high. Are we going to be able to meet these expectations? But we did, and we blew it out of the water. I cannot say enough how amazing our staff is, how amazing those people in the kitchen are. I mean, they are creating wonderful things and they're putting their all into it. And the response we've gotten has been phenomenal. I actually, yesterday, because especially as we've been opening, I've been sitting at 111 all day while I'm working. And I was eavesdropping on one of the tables and I was like cracking up at how happy they were with everything. And they were just amongst themselves. They were raving about every item that they got. Specifically, like, the burrata, it has honeycomb on it that we actually source locally from Blossomwood Farms. And one of the guys at the table was just raving about how much he loved the honeycomb being on it. And he was like, it's so cool that they source this locally. Everyone was happy with all of their dishes. So that's really what we've gotten from people. And a lot of people saying that the space that we're bringing to Huntsville is something that they've been wanting. It's somewhere where you can lounge. We have tables that come in and stay 2+ hours because that's the kind of environment that we've created. From the interior to the coursed out meals to even the music that we play, we're encouraging people to really spend time with us and, again, experience their meal, experience the drinks. So, yeah, the feedback has been great.
Yeah, and it looked like that y'all even have like private dining spaces as
do.
well. Talk a little bit about that because it's something I think on the website it says coming soon.
Yeah.
So it's not something that like just trying to fill the waters a little bit out right now as you've just opened before you dive into something like that. But what can people expect from the private dining rooms and kind of that process for them to bring in a group of 8, 10, whatever it might be, and have dinner?
For sure. So, and the website is now updated. So it actually shows our spaces and our minimum spends and everything for them. But we have 2 private dining spaces. One is the library. Love that room so much. It's so cool. I mean, it is a little library. That one can fit up to 12 people, I believe. I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure it's 12 though. Okay. But up to 12 people. So that's going to be better for your smaller, more intimate parties and settings. That one is... Should I say the minimum spend?
I mean, we'll have the links to everything in the episode notes. So, like, if anyone wants to find out the specific,
they can dig deeper.
The amount of people or the minimum spends, they can go to the website and in the show notes. But besides the library, what's the other space that y'all have available?
So then we also have the heritage space. So that one's going to be a little bit bigger, and both of them have TVs in there. So if you want to do like a presentation, I know like pharmaceutical companies do that a lot, where they'll do like presentations, like corporate events you could do there, and then of course anything to do with like weddings, wedding showers, like rehearsal dinners, we could accommodate all of that. So you have dedicated staff for the evening. If you'd like, we can create a customized menu for you, to where it's kind of a limited menu for your event. We'll also we don't have this available quite yet, but soon we will have where you can rent out the entire restaurant. So if people need that space, it's 8,000 square feet. So you would have, again, dedicated staff, bar staff, that will take care of you for the evening. So we have a lot of options available. Wow. And then probably in the future as well, we will do catering, which I feel like for weddings would be perfect.
Oh, yeah,
but,
sure.
Yeah, so we have all the options available. I think for holiday parties especially, it's going to be the space. Yeah. We already have people asking about renting out the restaurant and our different private dining spaces for holiday parties. But if you do want to book an event, then you can go on our website and there's little submission forms to contact us about that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's an incredible space. I would recommend anybody to go and check it out. I think it's a concept it's been needed in Huntsville, and I think the timing is perfect because that's what people have started. Like, if this concept would have came 3, 4, 5 years ago, it wouldn't have had the same feel as it does today.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think it is for the role that you play with Power Brands, with 111, with all the other concepts, that you have a background in restaurants? Like, how much do you think that plays a role in what the success that you have, but also the success that Power Brands has because of you?
Yeah, I think it's crucial. I think it has benefited me a lot. I'm not afraid to get back in the kitchen and kind of weave between people to get content. I think it helps me foster a better relationship with the staff that's there, because I completely understand and relate anything and everything that they're going through with the process of opening, all of the frustrations that come along with that. Even after we open, having a good relationship with the staff helps me be more passionate about my work, because if I'm bringing people in, I'm making them money, especially for the servers. I mean, that's all tip-based. So I am very passionate about doing what I do for them because I've been there. And I think it also helps me be more of an asset on the back end, especially with openings, because I not only worked in restaurants, worked with a chef doing consulting. I understand everything that goes into the training, again, into sourcing. I even helped put together like our recipe book that we use in the kitchen. And a lot of that I don't think I would be able to do, at least not to the extent that I have been doing it, if I wasn't working in restaurants beforehand. I think also working in the service industry is very humbling at times. I think everyone should do it.
For sure.
It definitely cultivates so much respect for the staff when you've been kind of on that back end and you see the operations within. But yeah, I don't think I could have done as much as I've been able to if I wasn't working in restaurants beforehand, because I just have so much insight into everything. Also, working like with the different chefs that I've worked with has given me a lot of insight. It's hard for them. It's hard to create an entire menu, and figure out what pairs well together. And so working with them, it's given me a lot of insight, but it's been very beneficial for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so we're 2 weeks into opening, a week into opening. It's fresh. It's a new concept. It's hard to project the future, but kind of looking at the rest of this year, the next 6 months, what do you hope 111 is able to accomplish, maybe as a restaurant, but also maybe the impact it has for Huntsville as a whole?
Yeah, I actually was talking to some people about this yesterday, kind of what 111 is and what it's bringing to Huntsville. Like I said, it definitely brings a bigger city experience here. Huntsville is at this pivotal point where we're seeing a ton of growth. We have a lot of transplants here. We have 500 people moving here with the FBI. There's people moving here for engineering and tech jobs all the time. We are rapidly expanding, and we're getting a lot of people in from larger cities who are craving the experience that we are offering. And I hope that we inspire more concepts like this to pop up, where you have, a higher standard of food, more experiential things that are offered, and just a space itself where people want to lounge and spend their entire evening and have fun in the process. But I hope that we become the spot in Huntsville, where on any given weekend, if you're going to go somewhere, you want to go sit at 111 because you know that it's going to be good every single time. And the service is going to be spectacular every single time. That's what I hope. And I think that we will see that. I think we're bringing something that not competitive, but we have an edge here in Huntsville. And I think it's going to encourage others to kind of meet that standard as well.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being on. We'll have to have you back on the podcast in 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, because the business is going to change, it's going to evolve, and the impact it's going to have in Huntsville, though, isn't for sure now, is going to be evident in a few years. And I think it's really going to change the landscape of restaurants, of dining, of just the experience behind it. We'll be sure to have everything in the episode notes, links to the website, links to the social media. Be sure to go check it out. Lunch, dinner, hopefully brunch soon.
Yes,
private
soon.
dining, all the things we've talked about. We'll be sure to have that in the episode notes. But I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you you so much for listening to this episode of Beyond Rockets. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and on YouTube at Beyond Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Beyond Rockets to stay up to date with new episodes as they are released. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.